infiltrators. He talked really badly about African refugees in Israel. And Israel does not treat the black Jews well either. And then why all of a sudden this camouflage behavior? Oh yeah, Africa, let's get together and make place for the Palestinians. I would say it is a dirty, dirty, dirty game. It's a dirty game and pure hypocrisy. Welcome to African Living Abroad. Today I'm going to do this video as a response to an African YouTuber who is really sending out an urgent message to all YouTubers to address this issue that just came up recently, a report that Israel is in talks with African countries to see if Israel can send Palestinians, the displaced Palestinians, into Africa and to send them there as migrants and voluntary migrants, and as a social observer, a commentator, an interpreter of social events. I accept this challenge. It's a tough one, but I accept it. Israel pulling Africa into the conflict is going to heavily create a tense situation in the Africa, Israel, and Palestinian relations. And that's why it's very, very important for all of us to discuss this issue. And maybe at the end we can find solutions that are best for everyone. Because in this case, I feel that Israel doesn't stop shocking us. There is always something new. And so this is a very, very tough situation, and it's ruffling a lot of feathers, especially the feathers of African YouTubers, people that are interested in talking about issues to make the world a better place. And when I talk about tough talk, let's say for Israel, that's been thrown into my lap actually lately. It's something I was really debating whether I should take on as a topic, but it just landed on my lap, and I've made a couple of videos about Israel. And because Israel has gone under the radar for a long time, and I think our eyes are opening up majorly to what's really going on, and we cannot shut up anymore. You know, the lid has come off, and we're talking about things right now. And so tough talk is only to make people better. It's like a family, it's like a parent. And I'm a parent, and I have regular tough talks with my children. And I would like them to rise higher, to be better, to see better options to do things. Before I give my opinion, I like to share with you two things. And one is a disclaimer. And this disclaimer is, I do not hate people at all. I am a promoter of peace. And I live in a multicultural and a multi-religious society. And I thrive very much under a peaceful coexistence of these opposing cultures and opposing religions. And I believe very, very strongly that people can coexist peacefully, because I am living it. But I have a problem. I really have a big problem with exploitive governments and exploitive systems that exploit people, misuse people, and do not see value in other human beings. And I have a problem with the suppression of freedom and of truth and of peace. And I have a problem with injustices and manipulation. And I have a problem with imposters. And I have a problem with hypocrisy. And when these things cross my path, I really cannot sit down and just be quiet. They actually activate my voice. And whatever it takes, even though I know the risks are there, yeah, given. But I believe so strongly in a peaceful coexistence of people. It is possible. And I believe that this gives me the credibility to discuss these things. And number two, which is really, really important, is to address religious people in their connections, in their view about Israel. And I'd like to address Christians especially, because I have that background. And we've all had a strong tie with Israel. We've all prayed for Israel all our lives, and we have advocated for Israel. But at this point, some things are becoming very, very clear, and I hope that these things become clear to you. And when they become clear to you, you will understand my message very clearly and where I'm coming from and why I'm having a divergence. Okay? Because it's become clear to me that the present day Israel, the government of Israel, and the people who subscribe to that government, the Zionist movement, and people who subscribe to that movement, they are different from the biblical people that we've been praying for, okay? And the biblical story, there is a very clear difference. And I know many people may not like it. I know many Jewish people may not like this because they believe very strongly. Maybe it's differently from me. And the biblical Israelites, that we can also call the Hebrews, I need you to think really again and again, find out who the biblical Israelites are and who the Hebrews are. And then go do your homework very, very well about this. And another thing I'd like you to do is to study, do a research on who the Khazarian Jews are and who the Ashkenazi Jews are and their origin, okay, their connection to Eastern Europe and how they ended up in Israel, right now, the present day Israel, and why we have a problem there, okay? Because as we know it, Israel are the descendants of the sons of Jacob, who was renamed Israel. And all the way it is intertwined with the term Hebrews, the sons of Judah, the son of Jacob. And I think that you would, I'm a theologian, okay? I studied theology. And there is, when you study the Bible, which I really like studying religious books, in the Bible, you don't only learn spirituality, which many, many Christians focus on more, but it's a very compact book. And in there, you can learn histories of the people of the biblical times. You can learn genealogies of those times. You can learn the geographical locations of that time. You learn about the society and the cultures of that time. And it is packed with information. And from there, you can now move forward. Okay? So spirituality is, don't just focus on spirituality. Take it as a whole, And after you've done this, I think you will understand me much better and where I'm coming from. And you may also want to check my other YouTube channel. It's called Spiritually Unchained. Because there I share my spiritual journey, okay? Because I am just not a YouTuber who talks about politics and cultures and all that. I'm a very spiritual person. And and I've learned from my mentors recently that we need to be the authentic us. We carry in us so many different facets of ourselves. And I used to think, how can I, as a spiritual person, bring in all these other stories, especially touching to politics, which many people move away from. And I was very, very conflicted until I met through synchronicities, I met my spiritual mentors, and they are doing more than just teaching spirituality. They are entrepreneurs, they are business people, investors. They know so much, and they are able to share all that part of themselves. And so they encouraged me very much, and now I can come confidently and present myself. So my messages are intertwined with messages of hope and spirituality. And so that's me. Okay. Now let's get to the tough talk, full of questions and challenges. And my first question is, why is Israel dumping the Palestinians into Africa? It is mind-boggling. And I'd like you to answer this. What is the purpose behind this plan? And I'd like you to do the math. The less Palestinian in Gaza, the more space, I think, for the Israeli occupation. That makes sense to me. If you have a different opinion, please share it. And it's like, first bomb the Palestinian territory and send them out. And when there is more space, and then what? What is next for Netanyahu? And we are not dumb. We are not dumb. We are asking these questions. Number two, Africa has her own problems, lots and lots of problems with their own, with refugees coming from the neighboring countries, because the whole of Africa has been destabilized, and every country there is struggling to maintain a growing population of refugees. And I think that adding more refugees is going to exhaust Africa even more. And number three, Africa at the moment is in the business of freeing herself from the yoke of the colonial masters who never left Africa, who have been exploiting African resources as we know it. And in my most recent video, I addressed that issue of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria breaking away from France. And many other countries are going to follow suit. So I think Africa's focus right now is her own freedom, her own freedom. And I think that Africa building that connection with Israel and tightening themselves and getting entangled with this situation is going to distract Africa from moving forward. And it's going to encounter new problems. And when Africa does that, it's going to never grow up, And in one of my videos, I asked, when is Africa finally going to mature? And Africa will mature when she breaks away from all these foreign friends, governmental friends and systems that will just really choke her down and become dependent on them. Africa needs to grow up and shed all these outside influences or powers and try to even crawl and walk and fly. So I think this is not the right time for Africa again to pick up another foreign government and to tangle herself with her. And in the last recent years, Netanyahu made a statement that Israel and Africa have the same commonalities, and they have the same interests, they have the same enemies, meaning terrorists. But in this day and age, we know that terrorists are created, they are funded, they are nurtured, they are set out to destabilize countries. And so this is a whole lie here. Those enemies put in Africa to destabilize Africa. Israel, Netanyahu knows what we are talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So I think that Africa really would not have any terrorists if they were not created and set out into Africa to do their job, their dirty job for other people that are far away, other governments. And there you have it. And the hypocrisy that I was talking about earlier is also not long ago, Netanyahu rounded up African refugees that were legitimately, that the Amnesty International and the human rights people claim that those refugees, African refugees, are there legitimately. And Netanyahu threatened them, rounded them up, and said he would pay them to leave Israel, to go back to their countries or send them to other African countries, and would pay other countries to hold them. And he called them infiltrators. Infiltrators. He talked really badly about African refugees in Israel. And Israel does not treat the Black Jews well either. And then why all of a sudden this camouflage behavior? Oh yeah, Africa, let's get together and make place for the Palestinians. I would say it is a dirty, dirty, dirty game. It's a dirty game and pure hypocrisy. And to say that that is a voluntary migration of the Palestinians, hey guys, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is all politics, and this is a big plan behind this. And say no, say no, say no to this. I say that Netanyahu has made his bed of thorns, and he must sleep in it, okay, and not involve Africa in this situation, because Africa has had enough of other people, other governments, other countries, powerful countries using Africa. Other countries also pay other countries to dump refugees, let's say from Europe. And so money plays a big role here. And I would say to the African presidents, be very, very, very careful with this. Money isn't everything. And I have absolutely nothing against the Palestinians, absolutely nothing. And I am also, right now, I would say I'm a pro-Palestinian in this situation, because I do understand what they are going through is colonialism, brutal colonialism, apartheid, all the template of colonization is at play in Israel. And I grew up in a colonized country, and I understand that. And to be free and to have peace that has been hijacked from humanity, those are basic human rights, basic human rights. And so the displacement of people is also a tool of colonization. That's how many Westerners ended up in Africa. And that's why even China was trying to set foot in Africa and sending their people to settle there, so that they can at some point become a majority. You know, this if you study colonization, you will throw up. It is a very, very bad system, and it's still alive and well. Alive and well, even now in 2024, and that's something we are trying to undo. We have suffered, people of African descent, or I could say all indigenous people, okay? So that's my take on this topic of Israel planning to send Palestinians into Africa as migrants, voluntary migrants. I think this is a whole big joke. And I think that Netanyahu should take responsibility of what he's doing. And this is not, we are awake, Netanyahu, we are awake. Okay, it's not business as usual. It is 2024. The year, the age of revelation is here. The age of awakened voices is here. The age of golden age of humanity is here. It is game over. Game over. The time of dirty business is over. And I would say to Africans, YouTubers, please wake up. Let's join in this message and spread it and talk about it. And do not be fearful. Do not be fearful. Because it's a reason we were given voices. Some of us were chosen to speak these tough things. You know, It takes a long time to come out and do that. You wrestle within yourself. And we know many people present their voices, they've been in danger. And so we count the cost. We count the cost, and we don't come here just for fun, you know. If you like this message, I would encourage you to comment on it. Please say what your opinion is about it without fear. Share it with other people who do not know about this urgent call to discuss this issue. And subscribe to this channel. It will be great. I think I share great things. As tough as they are, I think it's good content. And I think it's good for humanity. And I am Jamhuri, and I'm here to share my international experiences in order to build bridges between cultures with the hope of making the world a better place. Thank you.